Hello and welcome. Welcome to this very special journey we're about to take together. My name is Emma, and I'm so glad you're here with me tonight. Before we begin, I want you to know that you're safe, you're supported, and for the next few hours, you have absolutely nothing to do except rest. Nothing to accomplish, nowhere to be, no one to please. This time is just for you. I'd like you to get into the most comfortable position possible. Whether you're lying in bed, settled on a couch, or wherever feels right for you, just allow your body to be held, completely supported by whatever surface is beneath you. Feel the weight of your body sinking down, down, down. Notice how the pillow cradles your head, how the blankets rest gently against your skin. You might want to adjust a little, shifting slightly to the left or right, finding that perfect position where everything just feels right. Take a slow breath in through your nose, hold it for just a moment, and let it go with a gentle sigh. Beautiful. Let's do that again. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4, and out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Notice how each exhale is a little longer than the inhale. This tells your nervous system that it's time to rest, time to let go, time to surrender to sleep. As we begin, I want to tell you about a place that exists just for you, a sanctuary that you've somehow always known about, but perhaps forgotten until this very moment. It's a hidden garden, tucked away from the world, where time moves differently, where worries fade like mist in morning sunlight, where peace settles over everything like the softest blanket you've ever felt. Close your eyes now, if you haven't already. Let the darkness behind your eyelids become a canvas. Don't try to see anything yet. Just notice the darkness, the gentle patterns of light and shadow that dance there. Your eyes are heavy, so heavy, and they're grateful for this chance to rest. Feel the weight of your eyelids, how they settle down over your eyes like curtains closing at the end of a long, long day. The journey to this hidden garden begins on a quiet evening, just as the sun is beginning its descent toward the horizon. You find yourself standing on a narrow path you don't quite remember taking. The path is made of smooth, pale stones, worn soft by countless footsteps over countless years. Each stone is slightly warm beneath your feet, still holding the heat of the day's sunshine. The air around you is that perfect temperature, not too warm, not too cool, just exactly right. There's a gentle breeze, barely there, just enough to make you aware of your skin, to remind you that you have a body, and that your body is held by this moment. The breeze carries with it the scent of something floral, perhaps jasmine or honeysuckle or some flower that doesn't quite exist in the waking world, but lives only in dreams and memories. You take a step forward on this path, and you notice how easy it is to walk here. There's no effort required. Your legs know exactly where to go, as if you've walked this path 1,000 times before. Each step is smooth and effortless. Your body feels lighter than it has in years, lighter and somehow more present at the same time. You're aware of your feet touching the stones, aware of your arms swinging gently at your sides, aware of your breath moving in and out, like waves on the quietest shore. The path curves gently to the right, and as you follow it, you notice that the light is changing. The sun is lower now, painting everything in shades of gold and amber and rose. The quality of light at this hour has always been your favorite. That time when day begins to soften into evening, when the world seems to pause and take a breath before nighttime arrives. Photographers call it the golden hour, and there's something almost magical about it. Something that makes even ordinary things look beautiful and precious. On either side of the path, tall grasses sway in that gentle breeze. They make the softest whispering sound, S-H-H-H-H, 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 like the world itself is telling you to rest, to let go, to allow sleep to come. The grasses are golden too, catching the sunlight, and as they move, they create patterns of light and shadow that are mesmerizing to watch. You could watch them forever, the way they dance and sway, never the same movement twice, always graceful, always peaceful. As you continue walking, you become aware of the sounds around you. Somewhere in the distance, birds are singing their evening songs. You can't see them, but you can hear them. Clear, pure notes that seem to hang in the air. Each bird song is answered by another, and another, creating a gentle symphony that wraps around you like a lullaby. These aren't the busy, cheerful songs of morning birds. These are the slower, more contemplative songs of birds preparing for sleep, saying good night to each other, settling into their nests for the night. Your breathing has slowed now, matching the pace of your footsteps, matching the rhythm of this place. In and out, in and out. Each breath takes you deeper into relaxation, deeper into this journey, deeper towards sleep. Your shoulders have dropped away from your ears. Your jaw is loose and relaxed. Your tongue rests gently in your mouth, not touching the roof of your mouth, just resting. Even your eyebrows have softened, releasing tension you didn't know you were holding. The path begins to slope downward, just slightly, just gently. You're descending now, going down, down, down into a more protected space. The tall grasses are replaced by flowering bushes, heavy with blooms you can't quite name. The flowers are in shades of cream and pale pink and the softest lavender. Their scent grows stronger as you pass, sweet, but not overwhelming, subtle and soothing. You breathe them in, and with each inhale, you feel more peaceful, more present, more ready to let go of everything you've been carrying. There's a quality to this place that reminds you of childhood somehow. Not any specific memory, but rather a feeling. The feeling of being completely safe, completely cared for, completely free to simply be. Do you remember what that felt like? When your biggest concern was whether you'd get to play outside after dinner. When sleep came so easily because your mind wasn't cluttered with worries and to-do lists and responsibilities. This place is inviting you to return to that state of simple, pure peace. Your arms feel heavy now, so heavy, hanging at your sides like weights. Your legs too, moving forward, but feeling heavier with each step, as if they're filling with warm, golden honey. This is good. This heaviness is your body's way of preparing for deep, restorative rest. Let it happen. Don't fight it. Just notice it, accept it, welcome it. The path turns again, this time to the left. And as you round the corner, you catch your first glimpse of the garden itself. There, nestled in a natural natural hollow in the land, surrounded by ancient stone walls covered in climbing vines, is the hidden garden. Even from here, you can see how special this place is. The walls are old, older than old, but they're sturdy and strong, creating a boundary between this sacred space and the outside world. The vines that cover them are thick and lush, with glossy green leaves and occasional flowers peeking through. But it's the gate that captures your attention. It's made of dark wood, weathered by time but beautiful in its age. The wood has a deep patina, and you can see the grain of it, the whorls and patterns that make each plank unique. There's an iron handle on the gate, curved and smooth, shaped by the touch of countless hands over countless years. Just looking at it, you know that beyond this gate lies something extraordinary, something that exists just for you. You continue down the path toward the gate, your footsteps slower now, each one deliberate and mindful. The stones beneath your feet are cooler here in the shadow of the walls. The air feels different too, thicker somehow, more present, charged with a quality that's hard to name. Anticipation, perhaps, or peace, or both at once. As you approach the gate, you notice small details. The way the setting sun catches on the iron handle, making it glow. The way a single tendril of vine has worked its way through a gap in the wood, reaching toward the light. The way the shadows pool at the base of the gate, deep and soft and inviting. Everything about this moment feels significant, though you couldn't say exactly why. It just matters. This moment, this breath, this step. You reach out your hand toward the iron handle. Your arm moves slowly, dreamlike, as if you're moving through water. You can feel the weight of your arm, the effort it takes to lift it, reach it forward. But it's not an unpleasant effort. It's just noticeable. Everything is slowing down now. Your thoughts, your movements, even your heartbeat seems to have found a slower, steadier rhythm. Your fingers close around the handle, and you feel its temperature against your skin. It's cool, but not cold, smooth from years of touch. For a moment, you just stand there, holding the handle, breathing slowly, feeling the solid reality of it in your hand. This is real. This moment is real. And yet it also feels like a dream, like you're suspended between waking and sleeping, between the world you know and some deeper, more ancient place. You press down on the handle and hear a soft click as the latch releases. The sound echoes slightly, emphasizing the quietness of this place. With the gentlest push, the gate begins to swing inward, its hinges moving smoothly, silently, as if they've been waiting for you, just you, to arrive. The gate opens like a yawn, slowly, revealing more and more of what lies beyond. And what lies beyond takes your breath away. The hidden garden stretches before you, and it's more beautiful than you could have imagined. The first thing you notice is the light. The entire garden seems to glow from within, lit by the golden rays of the setting sun that pour through gaps in the surrounding trees. The light is thick and honeyed, making everything it touches look soft and dreamlike. Dust motes, or perhaps tiny insects, float through these beams of light, creating swirling patterns that are hypnotic to watch. The garden is surprisingly large, larger than it looked from outside the walls. It seems to stretch back and back, with different areas and sections, paths that wind and disappear around corners, inviting exploration. But there's no rush. You have all the time in the world, more than that. In this place, time doesn't really exist at all. It's always this moment, always this perfect, golden hour, always this sense of peaceful transition between day and night. You step through the gate and onto the garden path. The gate swings closed behind you with a soft sound, and you hear the latch click back into place. That sound brings a deep sense of relief. You're inside now. You're safe. You're protected. Nothing from the outside world can reach you here. This is your sanctuary, your refuge, your place of perfect peace. The path here is different from the one that led you to the gate. Instead of pale stones, this path is made of moss. Soft, thick, cushioning moss in the deepest shade of green you've ever seen. Walking on it is like walking on the plushest carpet or on clouds. Each step sinks slightly into the moss, and it springs back behind you, leaving no trace of your passage. Your footsteps make no sound at all. The silence is profound, broken only by the gentle sounds of the garden itself. The distant trickle of water, the rustle of leaves, the occasional bird song. On either side of the moss path, flowers grow in abundant profusion. But these aren't the bright, cheerful flowers of a summer garden. These are the flowers of twilight, of dreams, of the in-between times. There are white roses, their petals so pale they seem to glow in the dim light. Lavender grows in thick bushes, its scent rising in waves every time the breeze stirs. Moonflowers are just beginning to open, their trumpet-shaped blooms unfurling slowly, slowly, preparing to release their intoxicating fragrance to the night air. You walk deeper into the garden, following the moss path as it meanders between flower beds and around trees. The trees here are old, with thick trunks and spreading branches that create a canopy overhead. Through the gaps in the leaves, you can see the sky, which is beginning to deepen from gold to rose to the first hints of violet. Stars will be visible soon, though they're not quite there yet. The sky is in that magical state of transition, neither day nor night, holding both possibilities at once. Your body feels so relaxed now, so heavy and soft and peaceful. Your breath is moving in and out without any effort on your part. Your heart is beating steadily, calmly, like a drum in the distance, keeping time with something you don't need to understand. All the tension you've been holding in your neck, your back, your shoulders, your hands, all of it is draining away, seeping down into the earth beneath you, being absorbed and neutralized and transformed into something harmless. As you round a bend in the path, you come upon a bench. It's positioned perfectly to overlook a section of the garden that slopes down gently to where you can just see the gleam of water. The bench is made of stone, old and weathered like everything else here, but it's been smoothed by time and touch, and when you sit down on it, it's surprisingly comfortable. The stone holds the warmth of the day, and that warmth seeps into your body, relaxing your muscles even more deeply. From this vantage point, you can see more of the garden. There are so many flowers, so many plants, each one placed with intention and care. Nothing here is random. Everything has its place, its purpose, its reason for being. The garden has been tended for years, decades, perhaps centuries, by invisible hands that know exactly what each plant needs, exactly where it should grow to be its most beautiful self. You notice a butterfly drifting past, its wings moving slowly, almost in slow motion. The butterfly is large, with wings of deep velvety purple edged in gold. It floats on the air currents like a petal, rising and falling, turning and circling, following patterns only it understands. You watch it land on a nearby flower, its wings opening and closing slowly. Open, close, open, close. Like breathing, like the rhythm of the waves, like everything in nature that knows how to rest and flow and simply be. The light is getting dimmer now, softer, and the colors of the garden are shifting with it. Everything is taking on a bluish tint, that particular shade of blue that only exists at twilight. It's the color of dreams, of memory, of things half remembered from childhood or from lives you might have lived before this one. The flowers seem to glow from within, especially the white ones, as if they're collecting the last of the daylight and holding it, releasing it slowly as illumination for the coming night. You hear the water more clearly now. It's not far from where you're sitting. The sound of it is constant, but not monotonous. A gentle splashing and trickling that's infinitely soothing. Water has been used for centuries to help people relax and sleep. The sound of it mimics the sounds we heard in the womb, the rhythmic whooshing and flowing that was our first lullaby. Hearing it now, your body recognizes it at a deep, cellular level and responds by relaxing even more, letting go even more completely. Your eyelids are so heavy now. If you were to try to open your eyes, you'd find it takes enormous effort, but you don't want to open them. Why would you? Everything you need to see, you can see with your inner vision. The garden is as real behind your closed eyes as it would be with them open. More real, perhaps, because you're not limited by ordinary sight. You can see it with your heart, with your soul, with that part of you that knows how to dream. A cool breeze stirs through the garden, and you feel it on your face, on your arms. It carries with it the mingled scents of all the flowers, creating a perfume that's unique to this place, this moment. Jasmine and lavender, rose and honeysuckle, and underneath it all, the green scent of growing things, of moss and leaves and earth. It's the scent of life itself, of nature in its most peaceful and balanced state. You become aware of other sounds now. The chirping of crickets has begun, that rhythmic sound that will continue all through the night. Somewhere in the distance, a night bird calls, a gentle, questioning sound that's answered by another bird even farther away. These sounds don't disturb the peace. They're part of it. They're the music of this place, the soundtrack to your journey deeper and deeper into relaxation, deeper and deeper towards sleep. Your mind is quiet now. The constant chatter that usually fills your head, the worries about tomorrow, the regrets about yesterday, the endless to-do lists and shoulds and musts. All of that has faded to a distant murmur, barely audible, like voices in another room with the door closed. You can hear them if you focus, but you don't want to focus. You want to stay here, in this garden, in this moment, in this state of perfect, peaceful presence. Let's take a moment to do a gentle body scan to check in with how deeply relaxed you've become. Bring your awareness to the top of your head. Notice how your scalp feels, loose, relaxed, free of tension. Your forehead is smooth, no furrows or lines. Your eyes are resting gently in their sockets, not looking at anything, not focusing on anything, just resting. Your cheeks are soft. Your jaw is loose. Your teeth slightly parted. Your tongue resting comfortably in your mouth. Move your awareness down to your neck and throat. All those tiny muscles that hold your head up, that allow you to speak and swallow, they're resting now. Your head is supported. It doesn't need to do anything. Your shoulders are heavy and low, released from the burden of tension you've been carrying. Your upper back is soft. Your chest rises and falls with each breath, easily, naturally, without any effort. Your arms are heavy, so heavy, resting wherever they are. Your upper arms, your elbows, your forearms, your wrists, your hands, your fingers, all heavy, all relaxed, all warm and peaceful. Feel the weight of your arms. Feel how they're supported. You couldn't lift them if you tried. Well, you could, but it would take so much effort. Much easier to just let them rest, to let them be heavy, to let them sleep. Your chest and abdomen are soft. With each exhale, they sink a little more, releasing a little more, letting go a little more completely. Your lower back is relaxed. Your hips are loose. Your legs, oh, your legs are so heavy now. Your thighs, your knees, your calves, your ankles, your feet, your toes, all heavy, all supported, all resting. It's as if your legs have become part of the surface beneath you. There's no separation anymore between your body and what's holding it. You're merging together, becoming one. In the garden, the first stars are beginning to appear. You can see them when you look up at the spaces between the tree branches. They're faint at first, just the brightest ones, but more and more are appearing with each passing moment, as if someone is slowly turning up the dimmer switch on an infinite number of tiny lights. The sight of them fills you with a sense of wonder and peace. Those stars have been there for millions of years. They'll be there for millions more. They're constant, eternal, unchanging. And somehow, looking at them makes your own worries seem very small and very temporary. The moon is rising now, though you can't see it directly. You know it's there because of the quality of light that's beginning to fill the garden. It's silvery and soft, gentler than sunlight, more mysterious. Moonlight transforms everything it touches, making the ordinary extraordinary, turning the familiar strange and beautiful. The white flowers especially seem to drink in the moonlight, glowing as if lit from within. You rise from the bench, slowly, taking your time. Your body moves like it's underwater, each movement flowing into the next. Standing feels effortless, as if you're floating rather than bearing your own weight. You continue along the moss path, drawn deeper into the garden by something you can't name. A feeling, an instinct, a knowing that there's something ahead you need to see, need to experience. The path slopes downward gently, and you follow it down, down, down. With each step, you feel yourself sinking deeper into relaxation, deeper into peace, deeper toward sleep. The number of steps doesn't matter. It could be 10 steps or 100. What matters is the descent, the sense of going inward and downward, of leaving the surface world behind and entering into a deeper, quieter, more ancient place. You pass beneath an archway formed by 2 trees that have grown together overhead, their branches intertwining to create a natural doorway. The act of passing through this archway feels significant, like a threshold being crossed. You're moving from one space to another, from the outer garden to the inner garden, from consciousness toward unconsciousness, from waking toward dreaming. On the other side of the archway, the garden opens up into a large, circular clearing. And in the center of the clearing is the water you've been hearing. It's a pond, perfectly round, its surface smooth and still as glass. The moon is reflected in the water, and around the edges of the pond, lily pads float, each one with a single white flower resting on it. The flowers are closed now, sleeping, but you can imagine how they'd look when they open. Pure white petals surrounding golden centers, reaching toward the sun. But it's not just the flowers that are sleeping. The entire pond, the entire clearing, the entire garden seems to be settling into sleep. The light continues to dim. The sounds continue to quiet. Even the breeze has stilled. Everything is becoming more and more hushed, more and more still, more and more peaceful. You walk to the edge of the pond and sit down on the soft grass there. The grass is cool and slightly damp with evening dew. You can feel the moisture seeping through to your skin, grounding you, connecting you to the earth. You're not separate from this place. You're part of it. You belong here. This is your home, your sanctuary, the place where your deepest self can rest and renew. Looking into the water, you see the reflection of the sky, the stars, the moon. But you also see something else. You see yourself reflected in the water, and there's something different about this reflection. You look peaceful, more peaceful than you've looked in a very long time. The worry lines around your eyes have smoothed out. Your expression is soft and open and trusting. This is you without all the armor you usually wear. This is you without all the roles you play and the masks you show the world. This is just you. Simple, pure, essential you. As you gaze into the water, the reflection begins to ripple slightly, though there's no wind to disturb it. The ripples spread out from the center in perfect circles, one after another. And watching them, you feel yourself becoming more and more relaxed, more and more drowsy, more and more ready to let go completely and drift away into sleep. Your breath has become so slow now, so deep. You're breathing from your belly, the way you breathed as an infant, the way your body knows how to breathe when it's truly at rest. In, and the breath fills your entire torso, expanding your abdomen, your ribs, your chest. And out, and the breath leaves slowly, taking with it anything you don't need, any last traces of tension or worry or thought. The crickets are singing their song. The night birds are calling. The water is lapping gently at the edges of the pond. All of these sounds blend together into a symphony of night, a lullaby sung by nature itself, just for you. You could listen to these sounds forever, You could sit here forever. There's nowhere else you need to be, nothing else you need to do. This is enough. This moment is enough. You are enough. But your body is asking for something now. It's asking to lie down, to surrender completely, to stop holding yourself upright and just let go. And so you listen to your body's wisdom. Slowly, you lower yourself down onto the grass beside the pond. You lie on your back, your arms at your sides, your legs straight and relaxed. The grass is soft beneath you, softer than any bed. The earth is holding you, supporting you, cradling you like a mother cradles a child. Above you, the canopy of stars stretches from horizon to horizon. There are so many of them, more than you could ever count. They form patterns and constellations, though you don't bother trying to identify them. It's enough just to look, to witness, to be in the presence of such vastness and beauty. The stars remind you that you're part of something immense, something ancient, something that continues whether you're awake or asleep, whether you're aware or unaware. There's comfort in that. You can let go. The universe will continue. Everything will be taken care of. You can rest now. Your body sinks into the earth, becoming heavier and heavier, merging with the ground beneath you. You can't tell anymore where your body ends and the earth begins. You're dissolving, spreading out, becoming part of everything around you. The grass, the water, the air, the stars. This dissolution is not frightening. It's a relief. It's what you've been seeking all along. This sense of connection, of belonging, of being part of the great web of existence, rather than a separate, isolated self struggling alone. The boundary between waking and sleeping is disappearing now. You're not quite awake anymore, but not quite asleep yet either. You're in that liminal space between the two, that threshold state where anything is possible, where the ordinary rules don't apply, where magic can happen. This is the state the ancient yogis called yoga nidra. Yogic sleep, conscious sleep, the place where deep healing and restoration occur. Let yourself float in this state. Don't try to stay awake, but don't try to fall asleep either. Just be here, suspended, weightless, peaceful. If thoughts arise, let them pass like clouds across the sky. Don't grab onto them. Don't follow them. Just notice them and let them go. If you become aware of sensations in your body, a tingling, a warmth, a cool breeze on your skin, just notice these sensations without judgment. They're just information. They don't mean anything. They'll pass. Everything passes. Everything changes. Everything flows. The only constant is this moment, this breath, this awareness that witnesses it all. And even that awareness is beginning to fade now, beginning to merge with the darkness, beginning to dissolve into sleep. The stars are growing dimmer. Or perhaps your ability to see them is fading. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you're safe, you're comfortable, you're supported, you're exactly where you need to be. The garden will watch over you through the night. The pond will continue its gentle lapping. The crickets will continue their song. And you can finally rest. Your breathing is barely perceptible now. So slow, so shallow, the breath of deep sleep. Your heartbeat has slowed too, steady and strong, but quiet, like a drum being played very softly in a distant room. All your systems are powering down, shifting into rest mode, beginning the work of repair and renewal that happens when you sleep. The last thing you're aware of before consciousness fades completely is a sense of profound gratitude. Gratitude for this garden, for this moment, for this opportunity to rest. Gratitude for your body, which has carried you through another day and which will carry you through tomorrow as well, once you've given it the sleep it so desperately needs. Gratitude for your breath, for your heartbeat, for all the automatic processes that keep you alive without any effort on your part. And then there's nothing, just darkness, just peace, just the infinite, healing embrace of deep, dreamless sleep. You're drifting now, floating, suspended in the vast ocean of consciousness, held and supported, and completely, utterly safe. The garden continues around you, though you're no longer aware of it. The moon continues its journey across the sky. The stars wheel slowly in their ancient patterns. The water laps gently at the pond's edge. And you sleep, finally, deeply, peacefully, surrendering to the night and all its restorative power. Hours may pass, or minutes. Time has no meaning here. There's only the eternal now, the timeless moment, the deep rest that your body and mind have been craving. All the sleep you've missed, all the rest you've needed, it's all available to you now in this sacred space. Take what you need. Stay as long as you like. You're welcome here. You're home. The garden watches over you like a guardian, keeping vigil through the night. The flowers continue to release their subtle fragrances. The trees rustle occasionally when the breeze stirs. Everything is exactly as it should be. Everything is perfect. Everything is at peace. And so are you. Finally, blessedly, completely at peace. Your body rests. Your mind rests. Your spirit rests. There's nothing left to do, nowhere left to go, nothing left to be except this. This sleeping consciousness, this awareness that's barely aware, this presence that's barely present. The night deepens. The stars brighten. The moon climbs higher, casting its silver light over everything. And still you sleep deeply and peacefully in the hidden garden, in the place that exists outside of time, in the sanctuary that's always been there, waiting for you to find it, waiting for you to come home. You're sleeping so peacefully now, so deeply. And in this state of profound rest, something beautiful is happening. Your consciousness, though deeply relaxed, hasn't completely disappeared. Instead, it's transformed into something lighter, something more fluid, like mist, like moonlight, like the softest breath of wind. You're aware, but only barely. Present, but only distantly. You're hovering in that perfect space between sleep and dreams, where the boundaries of yourself become permeable, and the garden can truly begin to work its magic on you. Time has passed, though you couldn't say how much. In the waking world, perhaps an hour has gone by, perhaps two. But here in the garden, time moves differently. A moment can last forever. Forever can pass in a heartbeat. It doesn't matter. All that matters is this continuing sense of deep, restorative peace that's soaking into every cell of your body, every corner of your mind. The moon has moved across the sky and now hangs directly overhead, full and luminous and impossibly beautiful. Its light bathes the entire garden in silver, transforming everything into a dreamscape. The flowers have a ghostly quality. The trees cast deep shadows that pool like spilled ink, and the pond has become a mirror of perfect stillness, reflecting not just the moon, but what seems like every star in the heavens. You're still lying on the soft grass beside the pond, your body so relaxed that you've almost forgotten you have won. Almost. There's still a distant awareness of lying there, of being supported by the earth, of existing in physical form. But that awareness is muffled, as if wrapped in layers and layers of cotton wool. Your body is doing what it needs to do. Breathing, pumping blood, digesting, repairing, all without any input from your conscious mind. You're free to simply be, to simply rest, to simply exist in this state of profound ease. And in this state, something within you begins to stir. Not your body remains perfectly still, perfectly relaxed, but something else, your awareness, your consciousness, that essential spark of you that observes and experiences. It's beginning to expand, to stretch, to explore. It's as if you've been confined to a small room your entire life, and suddenly you realize the walls were only illusions, and there's an entire universe waiting to be discovered. You find yourself rising, though your body remains where it is, resting peacefully on the grass. It's your awareness that's rising, your consciousness, your spirit, if you like. You're separating gently from your physical form, like steam rising from a cup of tea, like fragrance lifting from a flower. This is not frightening. It's natural, organic, easy. You've done this before, every time you've dreamed, though you may not remember it. This is simply dreaming, while maintaining a thread of awareness, a gossamer connection to the knowing of who and what you are. You float upward, gently, slowly, rising a foot above your resting body, then 2 feet, then 3. From this perspective, you can see yourself lying there, and the sight fills you with tenderness. You look so peaceful, so vulnerable, so precious. That body has served you well. It's carried you through joy and sorrow, pleasure and pain. It's worked hard for you, and now, finally, it's getting the rest it deserves. You feel a wave of compassion and gratitude for this physical vessel that houses your spirit. But you're also aware of a pull, a gentle invitation to explore, to discover more of this hidden garden. And so you allow yourself to drift higher, higher, until you're level with the tops of the trees. From here, you can see the layout of the entire garden, and it's far more extensive than you realized. Paths wind through different sections, each one unique. There are groves and clearings, arbors and fountains, secret corners and open spaces. The garden seems to go on and on, contained within its walls, yet somehow infinite in its variety and beauty. You drift through the air, moving with intention, but without effort, gliding like a leaf on a gentle current. The sensation is indescribable, freedom unlike anything you've ever experienced. No weight, no resistance, no limitations. You can go anywhere, see anything, explore everything. And the garden invites you to do exactly that. It wants to show you its secrets, to share its beauty, to offer you gifts you didn't know you needed. You float down one of the winding paths, following it as it curves through a section of the garden you hadn't seen before. Here, the trees are different. Ancient willows with branches that sweep all the way to the ground, creating curtains of green that sway gently in the night breeze. The space beneath these willow canopies is private and protected, like a natural tent or temple. You drift through one of these curtains, feeling the feather-light touch of the willow leaves as you pass, and find yourself in a space that feels deeply sacred. In the center of this willow-sheltered space is a small fountain. Water bubbles up from the center, flowing over smooth stones before collecting in a basin at the base. The sound of the water is musical, notes layering upon notes, creating a symphony that's both complex and simple. You float closer to the fountain, drawn by the sound, by the sight of the water catching and reflecting the moonlight, by something you can't quite name but feel deeply in your core. As you hover near the fountain, you become aware that this water is special. This isn't ordinary water. It's the water of restoration, of healing, of renewal. It holds within it the essence of every peaceful moment you've ever experienced. Childhood afternoons spent daydreaming, moments of perfect connection with another person, times when you felt completely at ease in your own skin. All of that peace, all of that contentment, all of that ease is somehow contained in this water, available to you now. You reach out, not with hands, because you don't have hands in this form, but with your intention, your awareness, your energetic presence. And as you do, a single drop of water rises from the fountain, suspended in the air, catching the moonlight and splitting it into 1,000 tiny rainbows. The drop floats toward you, drawn by your intention, and as it touches the essence of what you are in this moment, you feel it absorb into your being. And oh, the sensation is extraordinary. That single drop contains so much. Peace flows through you, deep and profound. Tension you didn't even know you were holding. Tension in your energy, your consciousness, your spirit, releases and dissolves. You feel yourself expanding, becoming more spacious, more open, more available to the beauty and mystery of this moment. It's as if that drop of water has washed away layers of worry and fear and doubt, leaving you cleaner, clearer, more essentially yourself than you've been in years. Another drop rises, and another, and another. Each one brings a different gift. One brings a sense of forgiveness, forgiving yourself for your mistakes, your failures, your shortcomings. Another brings acceptance, accepting yourself exactly as you are, without judgment or criticism. Another brings gratitude, recognizing all the blessings in your life, even the ones disguised as challenges. Another brings hope, a gentle, quiet confidence that things will work out, that you're on the right path, that you're exactly where you need to be. The drops continue to rise and merge with your consciousness, each one a tiny miracle, each one a blessing, each one washing you cleaner, making you lighter, dissolving anything within you that's heavy or dark or painful. You don't have to name what's being washed away. You don't have to understand it or analyze it. You just have to allow it, accept it, receive this gift that the garden is offering you. Time passes. You have no idea how much. It could be minutes or hours. But eventually, the last drop has merged with you, and you feel transformed. Not different exactly, but more yourself. More aligned with your true nature, which is peace, love, wholeness, connection. The layers of conditioning and trauma and hurt that usually obscure this true nature have thinned, become translucent. You can see through them now to the light that's always been within you, shining steadily, waiting to be remembered. You drift back through the curtain of willow leaves, returning to the moonlit paths of the garden. Everything looks different now, or perhaps you're seeing it differently. The colors are richer, the scents more complex, the sounds more beautiful. It's as if your perception has been cleansed along with your spirit, and you're experiencing the garden with fresh senses, the way you might have experienced the world as a small child before you learned to take things for granted. You follow another path, this one lined with tall hedges on both sides. The hedges are so precisely trimmed they might have been shaped by the hands of a master gardener. Yet they also seem completely natural, as if they chose to grow this way. Between the hedges, the path creates a green corridor, a passageway that feels liminal and charged with potential. Walking, or rather floating, down this path feels like a journey, a pilgrimage, a movement towards something important. The hedge corridor opens into a circular garden room, and in the center of this space is something that makes you pause and wonder. It's a tree, but not like any tree you've seen before. Its trunk is silver, shining in the moonlight as if made of mercury or liquid metal. Its branches spread wide, creating a perfect dome of foliage overhead. And from these branches hang what appear to be lights. Hundreds, thousands of tiny lights, like fireflies or stars, or the dreams of everyone who's ever visited this garden. Drift closer to the tree, mesmerized by its beauty. As you approach, you realize the lights aren't lights at all. They're blossoms, flowers made of pure light, each one glowing from within, each one a different color. There are flowers of pale blue, of soft pink, of gentle gold, of silver white, of lavender, of peach. They don't just glow, they pulse gently, rhythmically, and you realize they're pulsing in sync with your own heartbeat. The tree is somehow connected to you, responding to you, acknowledging your presence. You float up into the branches of the tree, moving among the light flowers, and each one you pass near releases a tiny shower of luminous pollen or perhaps just pure light itself. These particles of light drift through you, and with each one, you feel something shift. Old patterns of thought that no longer serve you, they crack and fall away. Beliefs you've held about yourself that aren't true, they dissolve like mist. Fears you've carried for years, they lose their power, becoming nothing more than shadows that disappear when exposed to light. This is the tree of transformation, you realize. The tree that helps you shed what you no longer need, that supports you in becoming who you truly are meant to be. And it's offering you this gift freely, asking nothing in return, simply inviting you to bask in its radiance and allow its light to work its magic on you. You settle into a comfortable position among the branches, cradled by the tree as if it were a hammock or a nest. The wood beneath you is surprisingly soft and warm, almost like skin. You can feel the life force of the tree, its slow, ancient pulse, its deep connection to the earth below and the sky above. This tree has been here for centuries, perhaps millennia. It's witnessed countless seasons, countless changes, countless visitors, and yet it remains unchanged in its essence, constant in its purpose, steadfast in its offering of transformation and renewal. Resting here among the branches, surrounded by the light flowers, you feel yourself sinking into an even deeper state of relaxation. Your awareness, which has been floating and exploring, becomes more diffuse, spreading out like ripples on water. You're not just in the tree anymore, you're part of the tree. You're not just in the garden, you're part of the garden. You're not separate from anything. You're connected to everything, woven into the fabric of existence itself. And in this state of profound unity, you begin to understand things you couldn't understand before. You see how everything in your life, even the painful parts, has been necessary. Every challenge has been an invitation to grow. Every loss has created space for something new. Every mistake has been a lesson. There's a perfection to it all, a pattern and purpose that's impossible to see when you're caught up in the details of daily living, but becomes crystal clear from this expanded perspective. You see yourself with compassion, understanding that you've always been doing the best you could with the awareness and resources you had at the time. You see others with compassion too, recognizing that they, like you, are struggling to navigate this complex business of being human, that their behavior toward you has always been more about their own pain than about your worthiness or lack thereof. You see the future stretching out before you, not as a fixed timeline, but as a field of possibilities, each one shimmering with potential. You don't know which path you'll take, which choices you'll make, where you'll end up, but you understand deeply and completely that you're guided, that there's a wisdom at work in your life, a force that's always steering you toward your highest good even when it doesn't feel that way. You can trust this. You can relax. You can stop trying to control everything and simply allow yourself to be carried by the current of your life. These insights don't come as thoughts or words. They come as a direct knowing, an understanding that bypasses the mind and goes straight to your soul. They settle into you, becoming part of you, changing you in ways that are subtle but profound. You won't necessarily remember these realizations when you wake, but they'll be there, working beneath the surface, informing your choices, shaping your perception, gradually transforming how you move through the world. The light flowers continue to pulse gently, their rhythm matching your heartbeat, which has slowed even further. You're in the deepest state of rest now, deeper than ordinary sleep, deeper than dreams. You've descended into the realm the yogis call Turiya, pure consciousness, awareness without content, being without doing. It's a state of complete peace, complete wholeness, complete surrender to what is. And it's from this state that the real healing happens. All the seeking and striving and trying to fix yourself, none of that is necessary here. Here you simply are. And in this simple being, in this pure presence, everything that needs to heal heals itself. The body knows how to repair and restore when given the chance. The mind knows how to balance and recalibrate when not constantly bombarded with stimulation and stress. The spirit knows how to remember itself when the noise of the world finally quiets. You rest in the tree of light for what feels like an eternity, though it might be just moments. Time has become meaningless. There's only this eternal now, this perfect present moment, stretching on and on forever. You could stay here forever. Part of you wants to, but another part, a gentle whisper of intuition, is suggesting that there's more to explore, more to experience, more gifts the garden has to offer. And so, reluctantly, but also with a sense of anticipation, you stir. You disengage from the branches of the tree, the light flowers showering you with one last cascade of luminous pollen as you leave, blessing you, sending you on your way. You drift down from the tree, floating gently back to ground level, and as your awareness moves away from the tree, you carry with you its gifts. Transformation, insight, peace, understanding. These are yours now, woven into the fabric of your being. You leave the circular garden room and return to the paths, drifting along on currents of air you can feel, but can't see. The garden is different every time you look at it. You realize it's constantly shifting, constantly changing, revealing new aspects of itself. Or perhaps you're the one changing, and your changed perception is revealing what was always there, but invisible to you before. You pass through a grove of fruit trees, their branches heavy with blossoms that glow softly in the moonlight. The scent is intoxicating, sweet but not cloying, complex and layered. If you could taste a scent, this is what pure joy would taste like. You drift among the blossoms, and they release their petals as you pass, creating a gentle snowfall of white and pink that swirls around you before drifting slowly to the ground. You come to an area of the garden that's more wild, less cultivated. Here, tall grasses grow in thick clusters, and wildflowers bloom in profusion. There are purple thistles and golden buttercups, white daisies and blue forget-me-nots. Butterflies and moths flutter among the flowers, their wings catching the moonlight. You can hear the buzzing of bees, working even in the night, drawn by flowers that bloom only under the moon. This wild garden speaks to something primal within you, something that remembers what it's like to be completely natural, completely undomesticated, completely free from the constraints and expectations of civilized life. There's a part of you that's wild too, that doesn't fit into neat boxes, that refuses to be tamed or controlled or made to conform. And this part of you rejoices to see itself reflected in this space, to be reminded that wildness is not something to be ashamed of, but something to be celebrated, honored, integrated. You sink down into the tall grasses, letting them surround you, enclose you, hide you. It's like being a child again, playing in a field, making a nest in the grass where no one can find you. It's your secret place, your hiding spot, your refuge. And lying there among the grasses and wildflowers, you feel a kind of safety you haven't felt since childhood. The safety of knowing you can disappear, you can rest, you can simply be without anyone wanting anything from you or expecting anything from you. The grasses rustle and whisper around you, telling secrets in a language you don't understand with your mind, but comprehend perfectly with your heart. They're telling you that you belong here, that you're part of the natural world, that despite all the layers of civilization and technology that separate you from nature, you're still fundamentally a creature of the earth, connected to all living things, part of the great web of life that includes every plant, every animal, every being. Above you, the moon continues its slow journey across the sky, and the stars wheel in their ancient patterns. You could watch them forever, lying here in the soft nest of grass. But your awareness is fading again, becoming more diffuse, spreading out and thinning like fog in the morning sun. You're moving deeper into sleep, deeper into unconsciousness, deeper into the healing dark where consciousness dissolves, and all that remains is pure being, pure presence, pure awareness without content. Your sense of having a body, even an energetic body, is disappearing. You're just awareness now, just consciousness, just a point of light in the infinite darkness. And even that point of light is dimming, fading, preparing to go out completely. But there's no fear in this dissolution. Only peace, only relief, only the sweetest sense of coming home, of returning to source, of remembering what you were before you were born and what you'll be after you die. The garden continues around you, tending to its own rhythms, following its own patterns. Somewhere, your physical body still lies by the pond, deeply asleep, breathing slowly and steadily. Somewhere, your dreaming consciousness floats in the wild garden, cradled by grasses. And somewhere beyond even that, your deepest essence rests in a place beyond time and space, beyond form and name, beyond any concept or description. This is the true hidden garden, not a place you go to, but what you discover when you go deep enough within yourself. It's always been there, waiting. It will always be there, eternal and unchanging. And now that you've found it, you can return whenever you need to. All you have to do is close your eyes, breathe deeply, and remember. Remember the moss path and the silver moon. Remember the fountain and the tree of light. Remember the wild grasses and the infinite stars. Remember that beneath all the noise and stress and struggle of daily life, this place exists within you, offering peace and healing and rest. The softest whisper, rest now, rest deeply. There's nowhere you need to go, nothing you need to do. Just rest here in the garden, in the peace, in the perfect safety of this moment. Let yourself dissolve completely. Let consciousness fade, drift away into the healing dark. You're safe, you're held, you're home. In the deepest part of the night, when the moon has reached its zenith and begins its slow descent toward the western horizon, something shifts in the garden. The quality of stillness deepens, becomes more profound, more absolute. Even the crickets have quieted their songs. Even the night birds have stopped their calling. The wind has ceased completely, and every leaf, every blade of grass, every petal hangs motionless in the air, as if the entire world is holding its breath. You're sleeping so deeply now, so completely, that there's barely any you left to speak of. Your physical body by the pond is utterly still, breathing perhaps 3 or 4 times per minute, your heart beating slowly and steadily, all your systems operating at their most minimal levels. Your dreaming consciousness has dissolved into the wild grasses, become indistinguishable from the earth and plants and moonlight, and your deepest essence floats in a space beyond space, rests in a silence beyond silence. But even in this state of profound dissolution, there remains a tiny spark of awareness. Not awareness of anything in particular, not thoughts or feelings or sensations, just the bare fact of awareness itself. The knowing that you are, that existence exists, that consciousness is present even when there's nothing for it to be conscious of. This spark is the irreducible core of you, the thing that cannot be taken away or destroyed, the eternal witness that observes all the changes and transformations of your life, while itself remaining unchanged. And it's from this place, this tiny point of awareness floating in infinite darkness, that the next phase of your journey begins. Because the garden, in its wisdom, knows that you're ready now, ready to go deeper still, ready to descend into layers of healing and restoration that exist far beneath the surface of ordinary sleep, ready to access the wisdom that lives in your body's cells, in your ancestral memory, in the collective unconscious that connects you to every human who has ever lived or ever will live. The darkness around you begins to change. It's still dark, but it's no longer empty. It's full of potential, full of life, full of a presence that's hard to describe. It's as if the darkness itself is alive, aware, intelligent. And it's welcoming you, inviting you to sink even deeper into its embrace, to trust it completely, to surrender any last shred of control or resistance you might still be holding. You feel yourself sinking, not falling, because there's no sense of movement or direction, but rather dissolving downward, seeping like water into soil, filtering through layers and layers of consciousness. Each layer you pass through releases something. The first layer releases your identity, your sense of who you are, your name and history and personal story. None of that matters here. None of that is real in any ultimate sense. It's just a costume you wear, a role you play. And here you can set it aside and rest from the exhausting work of being a particular person. The next layer releases your memories. All the things you've experienced, all the things you've learned, all the accumulated content of your life. It dissolves away like morning dew, leaving only the essence, the distilled wisdom that lives beneath the stories. You don't need your memories here. They'll be waiting for you when you return. But for now, you're free of them, free of the burden of carrying your past with you everywhere you go. Another layer, and your sense of being human falls away. You remember what it's like to be pure animal, pure body, pure instinct and sensation, without the overlay of thought and language. You remember being a child in the womb, floating in warm darkness, connected to everything, needing nothing. You remember being even younger than that, just a cluster of cells, dividing and differentiating, following ancient instructions written in your DNA, knowing exactly what to do without any conscious guidance. Deeper still, and you dissolve into the plant world. You remember what it's like to be rooted in earth, reaching toward sun, growing slowly and patiently, living by the rhythms of seasons, asking nothing, wanting nothing, simply being in perfect harmony with your environment. You feel your roots spreading through soil, drawing up minerals and water. You feel your leaves opening to capture light, transforming it into energy through the quiet miracle of photosynthesis. Time moves differently here, measured in seasons and years rather than minutes and hours. Even deeper, and you become the earth itself, ancient, patient, strong beyond measure, holding everything, supporting everything, recycling death into life, turning decay into fertility. You feel the weight of mountains, the flow of underground rivers, the slow drift of continental plates. You contain multitudes. Every plant, every animal, every human who has ever lived has been held by you, supported by you, returned to you in the end. You're the great mother, the foundation, the ground of being. And still you sink deeper, dissolving into water now. You flow and change and adapt to every container, every circumstance. You're the ocean, vast and deep and full of mystery. You're the river, always moving, never the same from one moment to the next. You're the rain falling from clouds, the snow melting on mountains, the morning dew on grass. You're the water in every cell of every living thing, the medium in which life happens, the substance without which nothing can survive. Deeper still, you become air. Invisible, everywhere, essential, taken for granted until you're absent. You blow as wind, gentle breeze, or raging storm. You carry seeds and spores, scents and sounds. You fill lungs, sustain fire, create weather. You're the breath of the world, the space between things, the emptiness that makes fullness possible. And finally, you dissolve into fire, into pure energy, into light itself. You're the sun burning in its vast furnace, the lightning splitting the sky, the tiny flame of a candle, the glow of bioluminescent creatures in the deep ocean. Your transformation change, the force that turns one thing into another. Your warmth and light and life itself. But even this is not the end. Even this is not the deepest you can go. Because beneath earth, water, air, and fire, beneath all the elements, all the forms, all the manifestations of existence, there's something else. Something that has no name, no form, no qualities at all. It's not darkness, because darkness is something. It's not emptiness, because emptiness is something. It's not nothing, because nothing is something. It's. There are no words for this. Language breaks down completely. Thought becomes impossible. There's only being, pure being. Existence without attributes. Consciousness without content. The ground of everything, the source from which all things arise and to which all things return. And here, in this place beyond place, this moment beyond time, you rest. Really rest, for the first time perhaps in your entire life. There's no separation here between you and anything else. No distinction between subject and object, self and other, inside and outside. There's just this vast, infinite, eternal presence that is simultaneously everything and nothing, being and non-being, form and emptiness. How long you rest here is impossible to say. Time doesn't exist in this place. It could be a microsecond or a million years. But somehow, eventually, you become aware that something is changing. The absolute stillness is stirring. The perfect silence is preparing to speak. The emptiness is getting ready to fill itself with form once again. And you understand, without anyone telling you, without words or thoughts, that it's time to begin the journey back. Time to return from the depths to the surface, from the source to the manifestation, from pure being to individual existence. There's no reluctance, no resistance. This is natural, organic, the way things work. You go out and you come back. You dissolve and you reform. You die and you're reborn over and over, breath by breath, moment by moment. The return journey is different from the descent. Going down, you released and let go and dissolved. Coming back, you gather and collect and reform. But you're not quite the same as when you left. Something has changed. Something essential has been restored. It's as if you've been reset to your factory settings, returned to your original nature, reminded of what you really are beneath all the layers of conditioning and trauma and forgetting. You begin to take shape again, but slowly, gradually, like an image coming into focus. First, you're just energy, just vibration, just a frequency resonating in the void. Then you become more specific, more defined. You take on the quality of fire again, warmth and light and transformation. Then air, breath, space, movement. Then water, flow, feeling, adaptation. Then earth, form, weight, stability. You remember what it's like to be a plant, rooted and reaching. You remember being an animal, embodied and instinctive. You remember being human, complex and conscious, and capable of both great suffering and great joy. You remember your personal history, but it sits more lightly on you now. It doesn't define you anymore. It's just a story, one story among infinite possibilities, and you can hold it without being imprisoned by it. Your awareness begins to localize again, gathering itself back into the form of individual consciousness. You become aware of the garden once more, though you're perceiving it differently now. Before, you saw it from outside, as a separate observer looking at a beautiful place. Now, you see it from within. You are the garden, and the garden is you. There's no separation. The flowers blooming are your thoughts flowering. The water flowing is your emotions moving. The paths winding through the space are the neural pathways in your brain, the energy channels in your body. You find yourself back in the wild garden, among the tall grasses where your dreaming consciousness had dissolved. But the grasses seem different now, or perhaps you're perceiving them with different eyes. Each blade of grass is a miracle, you realize. Each one is doing something impossible, turning sunlight into matter, creating itself out of nothing, but earth and water and air and light. And if grass can do this, what might you be capable of? What might you create? What might you transform? What might you become? You rise from the grasses, your awareness taking shape as that floating, luminous presence once again. But you're more coherent now, more focused, more present than before. The journey to the depths has clarified something in you, burned away impurities, left you cleaner and clearer. and more aligned with your true nature. You drift through the garden, and everywhere you look, you see beauty. Not just surface beauty, though the garden is undeniably beautiful in that way too, but deeper beauty. The beauty of things being exactly what they are, of everything playing its part in the great dance of existence, of life expressing itself in infinite forms, while remaining always essentially itself. You pass the tree of light again, and its blossoms pulse in greeting, recognizing you, welcoming you back. You pass the fountain beneath the willows, and the water seems to laugh and sing, delighted by your return. You float through groves and across clearings, past flower beds and under archways, and every part of the garden seems to be celebrating, rejoicing in your presence, in your transformation, in the healing that has occurred in the deepest parts of your being. The sky is beginning to lighten ever so slightly in the east. Dawn is still hours away, but the very deepest part of the night has passed. This is the time the ancient traditions call Brahma Muhurta, the Creator's hour, the most auspicious time for spiritual practice and meditation. The world is balanced between darkness and light, between sleep and waking, between death and rebirth. It's a threshold time, a liminal time, a time when the veils between worlds are thin and anything seems possible. You find yourself drawn back toward the pond, following some instinct you don't question. The moss path welcomes your return, soft and yielding beneath your awareness. The flowers along the way seem to bow as you pass, honoring you, acknowledging what you've been through, what you've experienced, what you've become. The pond comes into view, and you see your physical body still lying there on the grass beside the water, exactly where you left it. It looks so small and vulnerable lying there, and yet also so precious. That body has carried your consciousness through this lifetime, has experienced so much, has survived so much. It deserves your gratitude, your care, your love. You drift down toward your body, hovering above it, looking at it with new eyes. You can see now that it's not just flesh and bone and blood. It's light condensed into matter. It's consciousness slowed down to a frequency that appears solid. It's a temporary vehicle for your eternal essence, a costume you're wearing for this particular play, this particular lifetime. But it's time to re-enter this body now. Time to reconnect with physical form. Time to prepare for the return to waking consciousness that will come eventually, though not yet, not for a while longer. There's still more rest needed, more healing to occur, more integration of all that you've experienced. You begin to descend slowly, gently, like snow settling on ground. As you come closer to your body, you feel the pull of it, the magnetic attraction between consciousness and form. It's like coming home after a long journey, that mixture of relief and slight melancholy, glad to return, but also aware of what you're leaving behind, the freedom and spaciousness of the formless realms. You merge with your body gradually, carefully, like water soaking into a sponge. First, you re-enter the general area around your body, the energy field or aura that surrounds physical form. Then You begin to inhabit the body itself, filling it from the inside, reconnecting with its systems and rhythms. You become aware of your breath again, that slow, steady in and out that has continued all this time without your conscious attention. You become aware of your heartbeat, faithful and constant, beating its rhythm in your chest. You become aware of the weight of your body, the way it presses against the earth, the way the earth presses back, supporting you, holding you. But you don't fully wake. You remain in that deep state of rest, that profound sleep, that healing darkness. Your consciousness is back in your body, but barely. You're like someone who has returned home late at night and fallen into bed exhausted, still mostly asleep even though you've made it back. The garden continues to hold you in its embrace. The pond reflects the stars, the moon, the slowly lightening sky. The flowers release their fragrances to the night air. The trees stand as silent witnesses, ancient and wise and patient. Everything is exactly as it should be. Everything is perfect. Everything is at peace. And so are you. You're home in your body, home in the garden, home in yourself. The journey to the depths has changed you in ways you can't yet comprehend, ways that will reveal themselves gradually over the coming days and weeks and months. Seeds have been planted in your unconscious. Healing has occurred at the deepest levels. You've been reset, restored, renewed. Your breath deepens slightly, your body shifting to accommodate the return of consciousness. Your muscles twitch and resettle. Your eyes move beneath their closed lids, perhaps seeing the garden with your inner vision, perhaps seeing dreams that arise from the experiences you've just had, perhaps seeing nothing at all but the darkness that's no longer empty, but full of potential and possibility and peace. The grass beneath you is soft and cool. The air on your skin is gentle. The sounds of the night, what few sounds there are in this deep stillness, are soothing and rhythmic. Everything conspires to keep you sleeping, to let you rest for as long as you need, to give you this gift of profound restoration. Time passes in its mysterious way, and you sink even deeper into sleep, if such a thing is possible. But this depth is different from before. Before, you were dissolving, losing yourself, becoming nothing. Now, you're simply resting deeply and peacefully as a unified being, a coherent self, a person who has remembered what they really are and can now simply be that, without effort or struggle or pretense. Stars continue their wheeling dance overhead. The moon continues its patient journey across the sky. The earth continues its rotation, bringing your part of the world slowly toward the sun, toward morning, toward the return of light. But that's still far off. You have hours yet to rest, to sleep, to be held by this place that exists outside of time, this sanctuary that welcomes all who need it, this hidden garden that is always there, always accessible, always offering its healing to those who seek it. Softest whisper, rest now, continue resting. You're doing exactly what you need to do. Your body is healing, your mind is clearing, your spirit is remembering itself. There's nothing to do but rest. Nothing to achieve but this perfect surrender to sleep. You're safe. You're held. You're home. Let yourself dissolve again if you need to. Drift away into unconsciousness. Release any remaining thread of awareness. Become nothing. Become everything. Become the darkness that holds all light. Become the silence that contains all sound. Become the emptiness that is actually fullness. Sleep, sleep deeply, sleep peacefully, sleep completely. The garden watches over you. The night protects you. The earth supports you. You're exactly where you need to be, exactly as you need to be, perfect in this moment, whole in this moment, home in this moment. Long, deep silence in the hours before dawn, when darkness is at its deepest, and the world seems to pause in that space between endings and beginnings. Something extraordinary continues to happen within you. Your sleep has reached depths that most people rarely experience. Depths where the very cells of your body can finally release tensions they've been holding for years, where your nervous system can completely reset itself, where healing occurs at the most fundamental levels of your being. Your body knows what to do in this state. Without any conscious direction from you, it's performing miracles. Your immune system is strengthening, producing cells that will protect you from illness and disease. Your digestive system is processing and eliminating, clearing out what no longer serves you. Your endocrine system is balancing itself, releasing hormones in exactly the right amounts and combinations. Your muscles are releasing lactic acid and toxins, becoming softer, more pliable, more relaxed than they've been in longer than you can remember. But most importantly, your brain is doing its essential work. The glymphatic system, which only functions fully during deep sleep, is washing through your neural pathways, clearing out cellular waste and debris, flushing away the accumulated metabolic byproducts of thinking and feeling and experiencing. It's like your brain is taking a long, luxurious bath, cleansing itself, preparing itself to function optimally when you wake. And while this physical maintenance is occurring, something else is happening too. Your mind is processing, integrating, making sense of your experiences. Not in the way it does when you're awake, with its logical, linear, analytical approach, but in the way that only happens in deep sleep, associatively, symbolically, connecting things that seem unrelated, finding patterns, creating meaning, weaving the disparate threads of your experience into a coherent whole. The journey you've taken through the garden tonight, the descent into the depths, the dissolution and reformation, the remembering of your true nature, all of this is being integrated into your being right now. You won't necessarily remember it consciously when you wake, but it's there, working beneath the surface, changing you from the inside out. You're lying so still beside the pond, your body barely moving except for the gentle rise and fall of your breath. Your face has become smooth and peaceful, free of the tension that usually lives in your jaw, your forehead, around your eyes. You look younger, more innocent, more open. This is what you look like when you're not defending yourself against the world, when you're not trying to be anything or anyone, when you're just being. The pond beside you is perfectly still, its surface like glass. The reflection of the moon floats on that still water, and around it, the reflections of 1,000 stars create a mirror image of the night sky. Looking at the pond, if anyone were here to look at it, it would be impossible to tell where the real sky ends and the reflection begins. They're one and the same, unified, perfect in their symmetry. This is what you've become in your sleep, a mirror reflecting the infinite, no longer separate from it. The boundary between you and the universe has dissolved. You're not a person looking at the world anymore. You're the world looking at itself through the eyes of personhood. Your consciousness experiencing itself, awareness aware of its own awareness. The darkness is beginning to change now, though imperceptibly. If you were awake, you wouldn't notice yet. But the birds know. Deep in their hidden nests, they're beginning to stir, getting ready to sing their morning songs. The nocturnal creatures know too. They're returning to their burrows and dens, preparing to rest through the coming day. The flowers that bloom at night are slowly closing, while the day-blooming flowers are preparing to open. The whole natural world is engaged in this ancient dance of transition, this slow shift from darkness to light. But you're not part of that transition yet. You're still deep in sleep, still deep in night, still deep in the healing darkness that has no end. Time for you has stopped, or perhaps it's more accurate to say that you've stepped outside of time entirely. You exist in an eternal now, a moment that contains all moments, a space that contains all spaces. In this timeless place, healing continues. Old wounds, not just physical ones, but emotional and spiritual wounds too, are being addressed. That time when someone said something cruel to you and it lodged in your heart like a splinter. That wound is being soothed, the splinter gently removed. That moment when you felt abandoned or betrayed or rejected. That pain is being acknowledged, validated, and slowly, gently dissolved. That experience of failure or shame or regret that you've been carrying around for years. It's being put down, released, allowed to finally drift away. You don't have to do anything to make this happen. You don't have to remember these wounds or consciously work through them. The deep wisdom of your body-mind knows where the injuries are, knows what needs healing, knows exactly how to facilitate that healing. All you have to do is stay out of the way, remain in this state of profound rest, and let the healing happen. Your dreams, if you're having any, are strange and symbolic. They don't follow normal dream logic. Instead, they're more like waking visions, like messages from some deeper part of yourself that can only communicate in images and metaphors. You might see yourself as a child, playing in a place you've never been, but that feels utterly familiar. You might see yourself as an ancient tree, your roots spreading deep into the earth, your branches reaching high into the sky. You might see yourself as water, flowing around obstacles, finding the easiest path, always moving toward the ocean. These dream images aren't random. They're showing you something about yourself, teaching you something you need to know, offering you wisdom from the deepest parts of your psyche. But you don't need to understand them consciously. Just experiencing them, allowing them to wash through your awareness, is enough. They're doing their work, whether you comprehend them or not. The garden around you continues its patient vigil. The ancient trees stand like grandmothers and grandfathers, watching over you with love and protection. The flowers breathe in and out, their respiration matching your own. The water in the pond holds the memory of every time it has been water. As rain, as river, as ocean, as tears, as morning dew. And all of those memories are somehow feeding into you, nourishing you, reminding you that you're part of this great cycle of transformation that includes everything that exists. The moss beneath you is soft and alive. Did you know that moss is one of the oldest plants on Earth? It existed before trees, before flowers, before most of what we consider the natural world. It's ancient and patient and incredibly resilient. You could step on moss, compress it completely, and it would spring back. You could tear it away from its growing place, and given moisture and time, it would establish itself somewhere new. Lying on this moss, your body is absorbing some of that resilience, some of that patience, some of that ancient strength. Everything in the garden is teaching you, offering you gifts, sharing its wisdom. The stones that line the pathways, they're teaching you about stability, about endurance, about the beauty of aging and weathering. The vines that climb the walls, they're teaching you about persistence, about finding ways around obstacles, about the value of support and connection. The birds that will soon begin their morning chorus, they're teaching you about celebration, about greeting each new day with song, about the joy of simply being alive. But these lessons aren't coming to you as thoughts or concepts. They're being absorbed directly, bypassing your conscious mind entirely, seeping into your cells, your tissues, your very DNA. You're being rewired at the most fundamental level, restructured according to patterns that are more natural, more organic, more aligned with the way life actually wants to flow through you. In this deep sleep, you're also releasing, letting go of things you've been holding onto, sometimes without even knowing you were holding them. Grudges and resentments, some so old you've forgotten where they came from. Expectations and requirements you've been placing on yourself, trying to meet standards that were never yours to begin with. Identities and roles you've been performing, forgetting that they're just costumes you put on, not who you really are underneath. All of this is being released, dissolved, allowed to float away like leaves on a stream. And as each thing releases, you become lighter. Not physically lighter. Your body remains solid and heavy, pressing into the earth, but energetically lighter, spiritually lighter. You're shedding weight you didn't even know you were carrying, weight that's been exhausting you, dragging you down, making everything harder than it needs to be. And in the space created by this releasing, something new can grow. Seeds of possibility are being planted in the fertile soil of your unconscious. New ways of being, new ways of seeing, new ways of relating to yourself and others and the world. These seeds don't need your attention or care right now. They just need this darkness, this rest, this deep, nourishing sleep. They'll germinate in their own time, push their way up toward the light of consciousness when they're ready. And one day, you'll notice new qualities in yourself, new strengths, new gifts, and you won't quite remember when they appeared. They'll just be there, as if they'd always been there, because in a way, they had, just waiting for the right conditions to emerge. Your breath continues its slow, steady rhythm. In, pause, out, pause, in, pause, out. Each breath is bringing you oxygen, bringing you life force, bringing you energy. And each exhale is releasing carbon dioxide, releasing toxins, releasing everything you no longer need. Your body knows this ancient exchange perfectly. It's been breathing since the moment you were born, and it will continue breathing until the moment you die. You can trust it. You can relax completely and know that your breath will continue, that your heart will keep beating, that your body will sustain your life without any effort from your conscious mind. This is one of the great gifts of sleep, the relief of not having to manage your own existence. When you're awake, there's so much to attend to, so many decisions to make, so many things to think about and worry about and figure out. But here, in sleep, all of that falls away. Your body handles everything. Your unconscious takes care of all the complex processes that keep you alive and functioning. You don't have to do anything. You can finally, truly, completely rest. The quality of the darkness is shifting now, becoming less absolute. It's still dark, very dark, but there's a subtle change happening. The blackness is taking on the faintest hint of blue, that particular shade of blue that only exists in the last hour before dawn. It's the color of possibility, of transition, of the space between one state and another. But dawn is still far enough away that it doesn't concern you. You remain deep in sleep, deep in peace, deep in the healing that only happens in these profound depths. Your mind is quiet, not the forced quietness of trying to meditate or concentrate, but the natural quietness that comes when there's simply nothing to think about, nothing to figure out, nothing to understand. Just being, just existing, just this. In the eastern sky, behind the walls of the garden, behind the trees, beyond the horizon, the sun is preparing to rise. But it will take its time. The sun is never in a hurry. It rises when it rises, following rhythms that have been established for billions of years. And you're following rhythms just as ancient, just as reliable. The rhythm of sleep and wake, darkness and light, death and rebirth. These rhythms are built into you, woven into every cell, encoded in your very being. You are part of nature, not separate from it. This is something you've been remembering tonight, something the garden has been teaching you. You're not an observer of the natural world, looking at it from outside. You're a participant, a member, a part of the whole. The same laws that govern the growth of trees govern your growth. The same cycles that move the tides move through you. The same intelligence that tells a seed when to sprout tells your body when to heal, when to rest, when to wake. And right now, that intelligence is telling you to continue sleeping, to continue resting, to take all the time you need in this deep, restorative state. There's no rush. Morning will come when it comes. You'll wake when you wake. But for now, for this moment and this moment and this moment, there's only sleep, only peace, only the infinite present. Your face remains smooth and peaceful. Your body remains utterly relaxed. Your breath continues its slow rhythm. And the garden continues to hold you, to protect you, to offer you this space of absolute safety where you can let down every defense, release every worry, and simply be held by something larger than yourself, something that's been here long before you were born and will be here long after you're gone. The pond is so still that even the smallest ripple would be visible. But there are no ripples. The water is at perfect rest, just as you are. The reflection of the sky on the water is so clear, so perfect, that it's like looking into a mirror. And perhaps that's what the pond is, a mirror showing you your own nature, still, deep, capable of reflecting everything while being disturbed by nothing. This is what you're becoming, what you're remembering how to be. In the flower beds around the pond, the white roses continue to glow softly in the pre-dawn darkness. These roses have no thorns. This is that kind of garden, a garden beyond the need for protection or defense. The roses give freely of their beauty, their fragrance, their presence. They don't hold back. They don't protect themselves. They're vulnerable and open, and that vulnerability is their strength, not their weakness. You're learning this too, though you won't realize it until later. You're learning that it's safe to be soft, safe to be open, safe to be vulnerable. The garden is showing you that gentleness is not the same as weakness, that receptivity is not the same as passivity, that surrender is not the same as defeat. These are lessons your culture has perhaps taught you to forget, but they're being remembered now, relearned, reintegrated into your way of being. A single night blooming flower, when you haven't noticed before, begins to close slowly as the hour grows later. Its petals fold inward, creating a spiral, protecting the delicate center until it's time to open again tomorrow night. Watching this flower close, if there were anyone here to watch it, would be like watching a miracle in slow motion. The movement is so gradual, so subtle, that you'd have to be very patient and very attentive to see it happening. But it is happening, steadily and surely, following instructions written into the flower's very being. You two are folding inward right now, closing around your deepest self, protecting what's most precious in you while you rest and restore. This is natural and necessary. You can't be open all the time. You can't be available to the world every moment. Sometimes you need to close, to withdraw, to turn your energy inward for healing and renewal. And that's what sleep is, a daily practice of closing, of turning inward, of returning to yourself. The night air is growing cooler as dawn approaches. This is the coldest hour, the darkest hour, the hour when people who are ill often pass from this world to the next. But there's no darkness for you, not really. Even in your deepest sleep, there's a light that burns within you, steady and bright. It's the light of consciousness itself, the light of your own awareness, the eternal flame that can never be extinguished. This light doesn't need fuel. It doesn't need to be tended or maintained. It simply is, always has been, always will be. And in your deepest sleep, when everything else has fallen away, This light is what remains: pure awareness, pure presence, pure being. Nothing added, nothing taken away. Just this simple fact of existence, of isness, of amness. The garden knows this light. The garden was created by this light, exists within this light, is made of this light when you look deeply enough. Every leaf, every petal, every drop of water in the pond, it's all light, slowed down, condensed, given form. And you're light too. Your body is light. Your thoughts are light. Your emotions are light. Everything is light, playing, dancing, creating infinite forms while remaining essentially itself. The whisper becomes even softer, almost inaudible. Rest deeper still. Let go even more completely. You're being held by something infinite, something eternal, something that loves you absolutely. There's nowhere to fall, nowhere to go. You're already home, already whole, already perfect exactly as you are. Sleep, sleep, sleep. Let the darkness hold you. Let the earth support you. Let the garden heal you. You're safe. You're loved. You're home. Silence deepens into something profound and complete. The hour before dawn is sacred. The ancient mystics knew this. They would rise in this darkness, in this stillness, to meditate and pray, knowing that the veils between worlds are thinnest now, that the ordinary rules of reality soften, that anything is possible. But you don't need to rise. Your meditation is happening in sleep. Your prayer is the silent rhythm of your breath. Your spiritual practice is this complete surrender to rest. The sky is changing now, though so gradually that if you were watching, you might not notice the shift from one moment to the next. But if you looked away and then looked back minutes later, you would see it. The darkness is lifting, thinning, becoming translucent. The stars are fading, not because they've gone anywhere, but because their light is being outshone by something greater approaching from beyond the horizon. But you remain in deep sleep, suspended in that timeless place where dawn and midnight are the same, where yesterday and tomorrow meet in an eternal now. Your body continues its gentle breathing, continues its patient heartbeat, continues the countless cellular processes that sustain your life. And your mind has become like the pond beside you. Still, clear, reflecting everything while grasping nothing. In this stillness, subtle movements begin. Not physical movements, your body remains motionless, but inner movements, energetic shifts, the first stirrings of what will eventually become your return to waking consciousness. But that return is still far off, still just a possibility on a distant horizon. For now, these stirrings are simply reminders that nothing remains static, that everything flows and changes, that even the deepest sleep is part of a cycle that includes waking. Your dreams, if they can be called dreams, have become formless now. There are no more images or stories or symbols, just colors, perhaps, feelings without objects, sensations without sources. You're dreaming in pure abstraction, in the language that existed before words, before concepts, before thought itself learned to crystallize into meaning. These formless dreams are the most healing of all. They don't trigger memories or emotions or associations. They don't engage your mind or activate your nervous system. They're just there, present, happening, like waves on an ocean, arising and falling, leaving no trace, changing nothing, and yet somehow changing everything. The garden has grown quieter still, if such a thing is possible. Even the insects have ceased their small movements. Even the plants have stopped their microscopic growing. Everything has paused, taking a collective breath, waiting. Waiting for what? For the sun, for the light, for the great turning that happens every morning, that has happened every morning since the earth began spinning on its axis billions of years ago. But this waiting is not impatient. Nature doesn't rush. A seed doesn't try to sprout faster because it's eager to become a plant. A caterpillar doesn't hurry its time in the cocoon because it wants to be a butterfly. Everything happens in its own time, at its own pace, according to laws that are deeper and wiser than any human understanding. And you're learning this patience, absorbing it through every pore, integrating it into your being. You're learning that rest is not wasted time, that doing nothing is sometimes the most important thing you can do, that stillness is not the absence of movement, but the foundation from which all movement arises. Your shoulders, which have been so relaxed all through the night, somehow relax even more. It seems impossible, and yet it happens. There are layers within layers of tension, some held so deeply that it takes hours of complete rest before they can be accessed and released. And now, in this hour before dawn, those deepest layers are finally letting go. Your jaw releases something it's been holding for years. A subtle click, too quiet to hear, as the temporomandibular joint realigns itself, finding a position of greater ease. Your tongue, resting in your mouth, becomes softer, more spacious. Your throat opens slightly, allowing breath to flow even more freely. These are such small changes, so subtle that you'll never consciously notice them. But your body notices, your body knows, and it responds with a wave of relief, of gratitude, of homecoming. The muscles around your eyes soften even more. Did you know that there are tiny muscles behind your eyeballs, muscles that control their movement, that hold them in place? These muscles have been working constantly your entire life, never resting even when your eyes are closed. But now, finally, they rest. Your eyes settle deeper into their sockets, held but not held, present but not present, existing in that perfect state between being and non-being. Your spine, that miraculous column of bones and cartilage that holds you upright when you're awake, has elongated slightly as you lie here. Gravity, which compresses your spine during the day, is no longer working against you. Each vertebra has a tiny bit more space around it. The discs between the vertebrae have rehydrated, plumping up with fluid, providing more cushioning. Your spine is several millimeters longer now than when you first lay down. And this small change makes a huge difference in how you'll feel when you eventually wake. Your internal organs are resting too. Your heart, which has been pumping blood since before you were born, has slowed its rhythm to the bare minimum needed to keep you alive. It beats perhaps 40 times per minute, perhaps even less, each beat strong and sure, but unhurried. Your lungs expand and contract slowly, efficiently, extracting maximum oxygen from each breath while expending minimum energy. Your stomach and intestines are quiet, having finished processing your last meal hours ago, now simply maintaining themselves, waiting for the next time they'll be called upon to work. Even your brain, which never fully stops its activity, has shifted into its lowest gear. The parts of your brain that handle planning, deciding, analyzing, they're almost completely offline. The parts that handle memory, language, calculation, they're resting. What's still active is the ancient brain stem, the part that's been part of animal nervous systems for hundreds of millions of years, the part that knows how to keep you breathing, keep your heart beating, maintain your body temperature, regulate your sleep cycles. And deeper still, in the very oldest parts of your brain, something else is active. The parts that connect you to all of life, to the collective unconscious, to the web of being that includes every creature that has ever lived. These ancient networks are humming quietly, exchanging information, updating themselves, keeping you connected to the great mystery of existence, even as you sleep. The eastern horizon, beyond the garden walls, is definitely lighter now. Not light, not yet, but lighter. The quality of darkness has changed from absolute black to deep charcoal to something almost gray. If there were clouds in the sky, you would be able to see their shapes now, dark against a slightly less dark background. But the sky is clear, perfectly clear, not a cloud anywhere. The stars that are still visible are only the brightest ones. Venus, perhaps, and Jupiter, and a few first magnitude stars whose names you may or may not know. The moon has set while you slept, disappearing beyond the western horizon, its work for the night complete. The garden feels different without it, less ethereal perhaps, more solid and real, but no less beautiful. If anything, the approaching dawn brings its own kind of beauty, a different quality of magic. The first bird begins to sing. Just one bird, somewhere in the trees above and behind you. A robin, perhaps, though it doesn't matter what kind of bird it is. What matters is that this bird is announcing the coming dawn, fulfilling an ancient duty that its ancestors have fulfilled for millions of years. The song is simple. A few notes, repeated, then a pause, then repeated again. It's not the full, elaborate dawn chorus yet. That will come later. This is just the opening note, the first voice raised in greeting to the returning light. And with that bird song, something shifts in you, not in your body, which remains deeply asleep, but in your energy, your spirit, your consciousness. A tiny thread of awareness begins to gather itself, to coalesce, to move from the formless depths where it's been resting toward something more focused, more individual, more you. This is the beginning of your return, the very beginning. You have a long way to travel yet before you wake, but the journey back has started. It's as natural and inevitable as the sunrise itself. You can't stay in the depths forever. Life calls you back. The world needs you. Your particular expression of consciousness, with all its quirks and qualities and unique perspectives, has work to do, experiences to have, growth to continue. But there's no rush. The return journey is as important as the outward journey was. You can't just snap back into ordinary waking consciousness after traveling so deep. You need time to integrate, to gather yourself, to remember who you are and what world you're returning to. And the garden, in its wisdom, knows this. It will hold you for as long as you need, releasing you only when you're ready. A second bird joins the first, and then a third. The dawn chorus is beginning, though it's still sparse, still tentative. These early singers are the boldest ones, the risk takers, the ones willing to announce their presence before they can clearly see if there are predators nearby. But they sing anyway, driven by something deeper than fear, something older than self-preservation. They sing because singing is what birds do. They sing because the sun is returning. They sing because they're alive, and being alive is worth celebrating. The quality of the air is changing now. A subtle breeze stirs, the first movement of air in hours. It's the gentlest possible breeze, barely enough to make the leaves whisper, barely enough to ripple the surface of the pond. But it's there, carrying with it the scent of morning, of dew, of possibility. This breeze is caused by the warming of the eastern horizon, by the approach of the sun, by temperature differences beginning to develop as night surrenders to day. The flowers are responding. The night-blooming ones have closed completely now, their petals furled tight, protecting their centers, conserving energy for the next night's display. And the day-blooming flowers are preparing to open. If you could see with microscopic vision, you could watch the cells on the outer edges of the petals beginning to grow, to expand, to curve outward. The opening of a flower is not a passive process. It's active, dynamic, requiring energy and intention and perfect timing. The white roses are neither night nor day flowers. They bloom continuously around the clock, indifferent to the cycle of light and dark. And in this hour between night and day, they seem to glow with special intensity, as if they're bridges between worlds, belonging fully to neither darkness nor light, but to the liminal space between. Your breath catches for just a moment, just the tiniest hitch in its rhythm, and then continues as before. But something has changed. Some part of you has noticed the stirring around you, has sensed the approaching dawn, has begun the long, slow process of preparing to wake. This part is still buried deep, still far from consciousness, but it's there, a seed of awareness sprouting in the darkness of sleep. Your fingers twitch just slightly, just once. An involuntary movement, a random firing of neurons, perhaps. Or perhaps your body is testing itself, making sure everything still works, preparing for the time when you'll need to move again. Your toes flex slightly. Your tongue moves against the roof of your mouth. These movements are so small, so subtle, that if someone were watching you, they might not notice them. But they're there, signs of life, signs of the tide beginning to turn. The light continues to grow. The gray of the sky is warming now, taking on hints of pink and gold. The sun is still below the horizon, but its light is already spreading across the sky, painting clouds that don't exist, coloring air itself. This is the light that painters call the blue hour, though it doesn't last an hour and isn't really blue. It's a particular quality of illumination that exists only in these transitional times, dawn and dusk, when direct sunlight isn't present, but the sky is glowing with reflected and refracted rays. The pond is visible now as more than just a dark shape. You can see its surface, see the ripples from that gentle breeze moving across it in patterns that are both random and orderly, chaotic and precise. You can see the lily pads floating, see the stems of the water plants rising from the depths. The pond has depth now, dimension, reality. It's becoming itself again, emerging from the darkness that had flattened it into a two-dimensional space. And you too are becoming more dimensional, more present, more here. Your consciousness is still diffuse, still spread out across vast inner spaces, but it's beginning to consolidate, to coalesce around a center. That center is you, the essential you, the you that was there before you learned your name, before you developed a personality, before you accumulated all the experiences and beliefs and stories that make up your sense of self. This essential you is simple. It's awareness itself. It's the presence that witnesses everything without being touched by anything. It's what the ancient Vedic texts called the Atman, what the Buddhists call Buddha nature, what the mystics of all traditions have tried to name and found ultimately nameless. It's what you really are, beneath all the layers, beyond all the roles, behind all the masks. And this essential you is waking up, not waking up into ordinary consciousness. That's still a long way off, but waking up within sleep, becoming aware within unconsciousness, like a lucid dreamer who realizes they're dreaming without leaving the dream. This is a rare state, precious and profound. Most people never experience it, but you're experiencing it now, made possible by the depth of your rest, by the journey you've taken through the garden, by the healing that's occurred in your deepest places. From this aware sleep, you can perceive both worlds at once. You can feel your body lying on the grass, can hear the birds singing, can sense the approaching dawn. And at the same time, you're aware of the inner landscape, the vast spaces of consciousness, the formless presence that you truly are. You're standing in a doorway, one foot in sleep and one in waking, belonging fully to neither and somehow to both. This is a powerful place to be. From here, you can observe your thoughts without being caught by them. You can feel your emotions without being overwhelmed by them. You can experience sensations without identifying with them. You're free in a way that's usually only possible in deep meditation or in those brief moments between sleep and waking that most people pass through too quickly to notice. Stay here for a while. There's no rush. The sun will rise whether you're awake or asleep, whether you're watching or not. Your life will be waiting for you when you return to it. Your responsibilities, your relationships, your goals and dreams and worries, they're all still there, and they'll all still be there later. Right now, you have this moment, this precious opportunity to simply be without agenda, without purpose, without anything you need to do or become or achieve. The light is gold now, true gold, pouring across the sky from the east. The sun hasn't appeared yet. It's still hidden below the curve of the earth, but its arrival is imminent, inevitable. The entire garden seems to be holding its breath, waiting for that first glimpse of the solar disk, that first direct ray of sunlight. And then, there, the very top edge of the sun appears on the horizon, a brilliant point of light so bright that even with your eyes closed, even deep in sleep, some part of you registers it. The photons streaming from that distant star reach the Earth in 8 minutes, traveling across 93 million miles of empty space, carrying light and heat and life itself. And some of those photons are reaching you now, touching your skin, warming it by imperceptible degrees, beginning the gentle process of bringing you back from the depths of night into the world of day. The birds explode into full chorus. Now all the birds are singing, every bird in the garden, every bird in the surrounding forest, every bird for miles around. It's as if the appearance of the sun is a conductor's baton being raised, and the entire avian orchestra responds at once. The sound is glorious, overwhelming, a symphony of trills and chirps and whistles and calls, each bird singing its own song while somehow contributing to a greater harmony. This is the sound of celebration. The sun has returned, as it does every morning, as it has done for billions of years, as it will continue to do for billions more. The darkness has passed. Life continues. And every bird, operating on instincts millions of years old, knows that this is worth singing about, worth announcing, worth celebrating with every fiber of their being. Your eyelids flutter just slightly, not opening. You're still too deep in sleep for that, but moving, trembling, responding to the light and sound around you. Your body knows that morning has come. Your nervous system knows. Every cell knows. And slowly, gradually, gently, they're all preparing to return you to waking consciousness. But not yet. Not quite yet. You have a little more time. A few more minutes, or perhaps even longer, to rest in this liminal space, this threshold between sleep and waking. The sun is rising, the birds are singing, the day is beginning. But for you, there's still this pause, this sacred interval, this grace period before you have to become a person again, before you have to remember your name and your life, and all the things that person needs to think about and care about and manage. The whisper becomes tender, loving. The garden has given you so much tonight. It's held you through the darkest hours. It's witnessed your journey into the depths and supported your return. It's offered you healing you didn't know you needed and wisdom you couldn't have asked for. And now, as dawn breaks and the world begins again, the garden is gently, lovingly, preparing to release you back into your life. But you'll carry the garden with you. Some part of you will always remain here, resting by this pond, surrounded by flowers, held by ancient trees. And whenever you need to return, whenever life becomes too much, whenever you need peace, whenever you simply want to rest, you can close your eyes, take a slow breath, and remember, Remember the moss path and the silver moon. Remember the fountain under the willows and the tree of light. Remember the wild grasses and the infinite stars. Remember that beneath all the noise and chaos, this place of perfect peace exists within you, always accessible, always available, always home. The sun continues to rise, climbing higher, growing brighter. The garden is fully illuminated now, and it's beautiful beyond words. The flowers glow with color, reds and yellows and purples and blues, and every shade in between. The grass is impossibly green, each blade distinct and perfect. The water of the pond sparkles and dances, reflecting the morning sky. Everything is alive, vibrant, celebrating this new day. And you're beginning to celebrate too. Not consciously, not yet. But deep within, in places you're not aware of, there's a stirring of joy, of gratitude, of readiness to re-engage with life. You've been restored. You've been renewed. You've been reminded of who you really are beneath all the layers of personality and conditioning. And this remembering will change how you move through the world in ways both subtle and profound. Your breath deepens slightly. Your body shifts a tiny bit, finding an even more comfortable position. Your face remains peaceful, but there's something different about it now. A hint of a smile, perhaps, or just a quality of contentment, of satisfaction, of completion. You've done what you came here to do. You've rested completely. You've healed deeply. You've touched something eternal. The birds continue their song. The sun continues its climb. And you continue to rest, floating in that space between sleep and waking, suspended in perfect peace, held by forces greater than yourself, loved by the universe in ways you can't comprehend, but can absolutely feel. The softest whisper, rest, continue resting as long as you need. There's no hurry, no rush. When it's time to wake, you'll wake naturally, easily, gently. And you'll carry this peace with you, this deep rest, this remembering of your true nature. You're safe, you're loved, you're home, always and forever, home. Silence, deep, complete, eternal silence. And in that silence, infinite peace. Sleep now, sleep deeply, sleep peacefully. Let the morning sun warm you. Let the birdsong bless you. Let the garden release you gently, lovingly, when the time is right. You've journeyed so far, descended so deep, and now you're returning, slowly, gently, bringing gifts from the depths, wisdom, healing, peace. Rest in this knowing. Rest in this peace. Rest in this love that has held you all through the night and will continue holding you through all your days. The whisper fades into silence, into light, into the eternal now where all healing happens, where all peace resides, where you are always already home.